ever sat in church and wondered, is this really what Jesus had in mind? Like, seriously? If he walked into some of our churches today, would he nod in approval or flip over a few tables? I mean, you show up expecting to find spiritual growth, but sometimes it feels more like you are stuck in a confusing maze of rituals, fundraising campaigns, and unanswered questions. Don't get me wrong, I love my faith, but as someone who genuinely cares, I can't help but wonder, are we missing the point? Today, I am going to talk about some of the things that make people, not just me, but so many others, start to question the church and their faith. And trust me, I am not here to bash Christianity or turn atheist. I am here because I believe in asking tough questions to help us grow. Buckle up. This might sting a little, okay? But it's all out of love. Let's dive in. Materialism and secular success. Let's start with the money issue. You know, there's something about being in church and hearing more about finances than faith that just doesn't sit right with me. I once sat through a service where 80% of the time, yes, I was keeping track. They talked about tithes, offerings, and prayers. I am sitting there thinking, is this church or a sales pitch? It felt more like I was sitting at a corporate fundraiser than in a place of worship. And there I was, broke, thinking, why am I even here? Wouldn't it make more sense to go to the market, make some sales, and just wire the church my earnings? At least then, I would feel productive. Here's the thing, I get it. Churches need resources to function. But when money becomes the main message, don't you think we are missing the heart of what church is supposed to be about? And that's not the only thing that feels off sometimes. Let's talk about the rituals. Overemphasizing on rituals over relationship. Oh, the rituals. Stand up, sit down, bow your hand, repeat after me. It's like a spiritual aerobics class. But here's the thing. After a while, I noticed I wasn't feeling any closer to God. It was just emotions. I started wondering, is this what a relationship with God is supposed to look like? Because if I am honest, it feels more like checking boxes than building faith. What's the point of a ritual if it doesn't lead to connection? Isn't faith supposed to be alive, dynamic, and personal? And speak of personal, sometimes it feels like we are losing the ability to make our own choices. You ever felt like some churches want to micromanage your life? I once heard someone say you shouldn't even wear a certain color because it was ungodly. And I am sitting there thinking, do I need to learn every decision by the church? Should I call the pastor before I pick my breakfast cereal? Look, faith is meant to guide us, not control us. If we are constantly told what to think, where's the space for personal growth and understanding? God gave us free will for a reason, right? But then again, free will leads to questions, and prayer is one of the biggest ones. Disillusionment with prayer. Let's talk about prayer. I've prayed for small things, big things, impossible things, and sometimes it feels like God hit the mute button on me. Have you ever prayed so hard for something only to hear silence? It makes you wonder, is God even listening? And then, when you look at the world, the wars, the disasters, the suffering, you can't help but ask, if God is good and powerful, why doesn't He fix this? These questions don't mean I am losing faith, but let's be honest, it's hard not to feel disillusioned sometimes. And when you are asking these tough questions, the internet doesn't make it any easier. Access to diverse worldviews. Oh, the internet. You ever fall into a rabbit hole of YouTube debates or Reddit trends? One day, I stumbled onto a debate between an atheist and a pastor. And let me tell you, it was like opening Pandora's box. Suddenly, I realized how many perspectives are out there. Buddhism, atheism, agnosticism, even random philosophies. And I am like, wait, there's a whole world of ideas outside my bubble.
About suffering and death.
It doesn't mean I am abandoning my faith.
God, right?
It just means I am asking, what if we are not the only ones who have it figured out?
Very
Huh. And speaking of figuring things out, sometimes church just feels out of touch. Perceived irrelevance of religion. You ever leave church and think, what did I even learn today? I've been there. Sometimes it feels like someone's are stuck in the past, talking about ancient shamans and rituals when what we really need is help dealing with stress, relationships, or I don't know, paying rent. Yes, the world is changing and people need real answers for real problems. If the church doesn't evolve to meet people where they are, isn't it losing its purpose? But sometimes it's not the sermons that push people away. It's the people themselves. Negative personal experiences. One of the hardest things for me was experiencing church hurt. I once opened up to someone I trusted, sharing something deeply personal. But the next Sunday, it felt like the whole church knew. And I thought, did I just join a prayer group or a gossip circle? It's hard to stay connected to faith when the very praise that's supposed to uplift you is the one tearing you down. And I know I am not the only one who's felt this. But stepping outside of the heart, I've also learned something beautiful about the world. Globalization and religious pluralism. Traveling and meeting people from other cultures really changed me. I met Muslims, Hindus, atheists, people who were kind, compassionate, and joyful without being Christians. And I thought, wait, if they are good people without my faith, what does that mean? It's not about doubting my faith. No, it's about realizing that God's love might be bigger than we imagine. Maybe the church could learn a thing or two from the people we are so quick to judge. So, where does this leave us? Am I here to bash the church or throw shade at Christianity? Absolutely not. I love my faith, but sometimes love means asking hard questions. It means wanting better. not just for ourselves, but for the church and the world. If you've ever felt like this, don't let it push you away from faith. Let it push you deeper, deeper into understanding, deeper into connection, and deeper into the kind of church that Jesus would actually colonize. Because at the end of the day, faith isn't about rituals, money, or even perfect answers. It's about seeking, growing, and loving. So let's start that conversation together. What's been your experience? Let me know in the comments. And let's figure this out as a community. See you in the next one.